Hey.
Hi, it's a mystery date. Another one. Yay.
Oh, yes. That is a show where the idea is that we're going on a date and we're gonna take
Like a
someone
blind
on a
date.
blind date to a movie that we picked, and we're
Mhm.
gonna see if this person wants to go on another date with us or wants to call the police.
No, that's not it. So basically, there's no police involved usually. There might be
Oh, okay.
police, but I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. No, neither of us knows what each of us is gonna talk about. We're gonna bring a movie to
Right.
the table and we're gonna talk about it and we'll see if we've convinced the other person to watch it.
Yeah. It doesn't necessarily have to be a movie that you love or anything. It could be just a weird,
Yeah.
like, let's see
Yeah,
what
just
happens.
something you want to talk about. That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
All
Who should
right.
go
You
first?
go. You go first.
Okay. I have a friend who told me that I should watch this movie, and I was like, I'm not really. It's sort of like somebody saying you really need to watch the game this weekend. The Green Bay Steelers are so hot right now, and the footballing is so intense that you need to watch the big game. I'm like, no, not going to watch the game.
I just blacked out hearing you explain that. I'm like, I'm sorry, I fell asleep for a second.
I know all the sort of basketball
Sports stuff,
field
forget
goalie
it.
thing,
Nope.
whatever it is.
Nope.
Um,
Okay.
but this movie was kind of like that with me, I have to admit. And
Okay, and I'm dying to know.
the movie is La La Land. All
You know
right.
what's interesting? I just had someone really highly recommend that to me, and it's one I've been kind of avoiding for the same reason.
I thought, it's a musical. I'm not hugely into
Interesting.
musicals and the kind of
Yeah.
song and dance kind of thing. But you know what? I watched it and I had a really good time with this movie. It's not my favorite movie,
Ah,
and I don't remember any of the songs. It's not like the songs are still going through my head.
yeah.
Um, I remember, Barbie had some songs in it, and
Yeah.
the songs I thought were kind of fun. I'm
Yeah, I
not going to go
remember
out.
those.
Yeah, I'm not going out to buy the soundtrack record for Barbie, but the songs were not annoying. The songs in La La Land are not annoying music. It's not like "Argh!" they're
Mhm.
they're fine. And the
Right.
dancing and the sequences, the camera, the single shot type stuff, um, the orchestration of the scenes, when they
Hmm.
go into these kind of fantasies, but it's beautifully made. It's an
Okay.
interesting Hollywood story, and it's a
Yeah, it's about
total.
Hollywood, which I usually like, so that does sound good. It's La La
It's
Land.
about LA too. It's one of those things where there's so many familiar locations in this where
Is it
you feel like,
present day?
yeah, it's kind of
Okay. It looked kinda
fantastic.
retro, but I wasn't sure.
There's elements of there's a
Okay.
retro vibe to it. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a couple of scenes that are, um, I mean, there's one, and it's got what's his name, Ryan Gosling, who I'm really warming
Yeah.
up to this guy. I'm really,
Love
I
him.
mean, I liked him a lot in Blade Runner. Loved that
Yes.
movie, and
I loved him in
I
Driver.
thought
Like, he's great. Kind of
Driver, yeah,
underappreciated in a way. I mean, he's a huge star, but I feel like he doesn't get a lot of credit. But boy, Barbie
yeah.
totally
Well,
revamped his whole image, I think. He became it's like self-aware about, like, who he is and the humor he has looking at his sex symbol status. It's very, very fun.
right. Not a lot of people
No.
can do that where they can. I mean,
Yeah.
compare Barbie and Blade Runner. Um,
Exactly. That's so
Two
different.
completely different planets. But
Yeah.
then in this movie, he's singing and dancing, and he's playing a kind of a
Yeah.
romantic guy who is a musician who plays, and he's like a real
Oh.
jazz obsessed kind of guy. Kind of reminds me of the character in Miracle Mile. Remember what's Anthony Edwards
Yeah.
in that movie
Yeah.
Miracle Mile,
Mhm.
where he's wooing Mare Winningham, and there's a
Yeah.
nuclear thing going on
Yeah.
in Hollywood. This movie
Right.
kind of has a vibe of that movie,
Oh, okay.
um, but it's but the female lead and the male lead are both sort of these star-crossed people who kind of come together in a weird way. They start out kind of love-hate kind of deal, kind of antagonistic a little bit, which is kind of has a vibe of an old film, old movie style of romance.
Okay.
I mean, there's funny little scenes where they're sitting next to each other on a bench at one point, and they start doing this thing where their feet, like they're dancing, just sitting there on the bench, and then they
Right.
jump up, and there's this little routine around the bench, but it's up
That's
at
fun.
Griffith Park, and you're seeing the city behind them. If you live in LA, you'll feel right at home with this movie because she is an actress. She's also a barista. She works at a kind of Starbucksy place on the back lot. So there's a lot of insider stuff with movie making and television stuff, but it's stylized in a really fun way. It's kind of like what people who don't live in LA might think it would be to be to live in LA or to live in Hollywood. And in that way, it's kind of got this bittersweetness to it because there are a few scenes that kind of destroy that, which I've known a lot of actors, and I've known some women actors who have told me horror stories about auditions.
Yeah.
And there's a few scenes about being a woman actor in Hollywood and how you are looked at and how you are treated. And there's a great scene where there's an audition. I'll just tell this one little anecdote. She's doing her scene and she's like really into it, and there's tears, and she's like really acting, and behind her is a door, and you see somebody in the door, and they hold something, they're in the door, and they're like, and one of the people at the audition who's watching her is like looking, and she's like, yeah, come in. And so the person comes in, she's like, I'm so sorry. But so-and-so called blah, blah, blah. And she's like, okay, well, I'll get on that right after this audition here. And then, so she's like, okay. And also remember your 2:30. And then, so she leaves, and then she's still there with the tears on her face. And the people behind the desk are like, okay, go ahead. That kind of crap is so prevalent in the industry. You are a machine that is supposed to act, and that comes across really well in this movie. Just the idea of working, and that idea, those of us who work in the entertainment industry, we know how it is. You work 14-hour, 15-hour days. You work so much that sometimes you don't have a personal life, a normal personal life. And if you do, it's probably with other people who work in the film industry. And that comes across in this film. And there's a melancholy to it. There's a darkness, there's a sadness underneath it. But then there's this uplifting thing that's like, you know what? That's what it is. But that's what we love. That's what we really like. And we want to do it. And as long as we understand where we are in that process, and you don't let it hurt you. Don't let it hurt you. That is the only way to survive in the entertainment industry. And in other words, I got all this from this movie that I thought was this vacuous sort of musical comedy about there's a depth to it. And the ending, I don't want to spoil her, but the ending of it I thought was absolutely perfectly sort of almost brilliant. In the way that relationships, I mean, people who've everybody's already seen it, but I don't know.
Not everyone has seen it, and I have not seen it. And you did stop spoiling.
I won't. But if people watching this have seen it, then you know what I'm talking about. The ending is so right on as far as like how it works. Relationships work in this town and in such an intense industry and such an intense you really have to fight to get anywhere in this industry. And sometimes things fall away and things end and things come back and things go away, and your life becomes a balancing act between survival, all that stuff. It's a good movie.
Excellent. Sounds amazing. Well, I need to watch it. I mean, a lot of people have recommended it. I still haven't watched it because I think the musical barrier is part of it. But now I want to watch it.
That is
because you're right. I thought it was going to be all goofy and everything.
It does have that. It's got that, and I can see where people might see it and say it's a little fluffy and a little, um,
Well, it can
I don't
have
know.
fluff, but it has a deeper feeling, it sounds like. So I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, and it's the casting is really good because Emma. Did I mention Emma Stone? I know I mentioned Ryan Gosling. Also, it's got J.K. Simmons in it a little bit, but Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling are basically in every frame of the thing, and Emma Stone is really good. She's always good, and so you got her and Ryan Gosling, so that brings it.
Yeah. Very cool. Okay. So now I
like
have to
LaLa.
watch it. I'm gonna do the opposite end of the spectrum. Obscure,
Okay.
super low budget, indie, not any of that, which maybe La La Land is sort of about. I'm gonna do a movie called Self-reliance. Now, the reason I'm doing a movie called Self-reliance, probably no one's heard of this. It's on Hulu. Directed by, written by, and starring Jake Johnson. I love Jake Johnson. I don't know if you've seen him. He was on New Girl. And he was on The Minx recently, which I also loved. Minx is amazing. It's kind of 70s porn industry. It was great. So he's just always got this sort of humorous affect that never feels forced, but he feels very grounded and real. So he always kind of brings that to characters, which I love. This is like a passion project for him, clearly, because he's all over it, right? So it's basically about he's kind of this disillusioned character, and he's kind of just getting by in life. He's kind of down and out, whatever. And then this limo pulls up. It's Andy Samberg, and he's actually playing Andy Samberg. And he goes, "Hey, I have a deal for you. Come on, get in." And he's like, "Okay." So he gets in the limo and he goes,
"Come true.
Come on, why not?" So he says, "We'll give you $1 million if you take part in this reality game show. We're going to be filming you, and it's for the dark web." Right.
See,
so that immediately should have run the other way.
Yeah.
So for 30 days, he has to outwit hunters who are trying to kill him. That's for $1 million.
The most dangerous game.
But there's a catch. They can only kill him if he's by himself. If they can't kill him if he's with anyone. So there is a way out of it if he can maintain, but for 30 days, you have to be near someone the whole time. Right. So he's like, "Sure, why not? What have I got to lose?" So he's like, "Sounds good, I guess." Like he's kind of whatever, he doesn't really understand it. It also stars Anna Kendrick, who's also fantastic. Andy Samberg's not in it a lot. He made the deal and he left. Basically, he finds out there's other people playing this game. So he ends up he finds a woman, Anna Kendrick, who's also playing the game. So they go, "You know what? We should just hang out together. We'll both beat it." No one knows how they're being filmed or or if it's even real. Like there's sort of an element of like, is this really real? Like no one's really sure. As they go along, they encounter the hunters. Now, one of them is that's such a weird one. This Ellen DeGeneres comes up and starts. He goes, "You're not Ellen DeGeneres, just dressed like her." It's a woman who kind of looked like her, but not really. And he's like, "You're not really Ellen DeGeneres. Get out of here!" Like trying to kill him.
Just Ellen DeGeneres.
No, it's just someone pretending to be Ellen DeGeneres. It's just obscure like this. It's just these odd characters. So, so he's trying to convince his family and friends that this is real, but they think he's just kind of losing it.
So he's not on like an island or something. He's like
in the real world. It's like us walking. Okay. It's LA. It's just LA, like in the valley. Okay. He's walking around.
I'm picturing like the most dangerous game story where that movie from a couple years ago where all the people were being hunted. Remember that?
Yes. No, that's not it.
It's always like on an island or some remote.
No.
So he's
and we're not even sure at this point if it's really real. Like we're assuming it's real, and we don't know if she's playing along with him, like Anna Kendrick, like kind of they're chasing me too. No,
he doesn't see a film crew anywhere or anything like that. Oh,
no. So he's like trying to tell people, "No, it's real. It's like I'm going to win $1 million." They're like, "You're nuts. What's happening? Get help."
Right.
That kind of thing. But as you're going along the movie, it feels like it's real. Like there are people trying, lurking outside a window, and he's like, "Oh shit, I got to get in a room with somebody," that kind of stuff. So
sounds like just a Black Mirror episode.
Yeah, it kind of is. Like it's kind of just this little obscure, strange little movie that was just really fun because he's such a fun actor to watch. He just has this great sense of humor, and it's never too dark. It's just dark enough. I mean, it's kind of grim, but he brings that humor and brings it up. But I just wanted to bring out this little weird movie that I saw. You know, it's not even close to La La Land, you know, but it was a fun little movie. I really liked it.
I'm curious to see what you think of La La Land if you watch it.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
I just had you know, no desire to see it, and then when I watched it, it was like I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, it's not
Well,
really not my kind of movie still, but
but see, the fact that you liked it and got something out of it, now I'm definitely going to watch it because,
yeah,
you know, I know your taste and, you know, you have good taste. And I like that, you know, you brought out the point that it has more going for it than just what you think is going on in the trailer, which is like, hey, I made a musical about LA, which is like, oh God, kill me. I'm not watching that. It's like, so
yeah.
now
And
we'll watch
the
it.
tropey stuff in it, the kind of cliche stuff in it is on purpose, you know.
Right. Right. All right, cool. Well,
And
there's our
this one
mystery
you're
dates.
talking
I
about
think I
sounds like
know
a
who's
very
going to
nice
win the
deal.
date. I think we'll know who wins the date on this one. So
Oh,
I think
don't
La
know.
La Land will probably be the one everyone's going to watch. I'm sorry, I probably didn't sell Self-reliance well enough, but it is a fun little culty movie that you should watch if you want something different.
I like movies like that where it's you can
Yeah.
film it on a low budget. It doesn't
Yep.
sound like there's any big sets or anything. It's a conceptual thing where you have
Yeah.
people in the real world, and the situation is the thing, you
Yeah,
know,
and
and
there's
that doesn't
stakes.
cost
Does he
anything.
survive? Is
Right?
it real?
Is it
Are they
real?
going to
What
give
is
him $1 million?
really?
What's really going to happen?
Why is
So
there
definitely
somebody
watch and
pretending to
find
be
out.
Ellen DeGeneres?
Exactly. Nobody knows. It's just obscure and weird.
But it
All
sounds
right.
cool. So,
That's
all
cool.
right.
All right. Thanks, you guys.
Bye, everybody.